Welcome to another episode on our channel. This episode is going to be about something we covered before, a French Guardsman. This was made by Ignite. Back then they were doing some good things, but this was the absolute best figure I ever saw produced by Ignite. Not because of the head. The head is awful. It's the worst head imaginable. But the outfit is so tailored, so well done, that to me it made it the best figure. There is no year on this thing, but it has to be at least 20 plus years old. I talked about this in an episode because I had gotten a Daft Toys figure of Robert Pattinson, Bruce Wayne, and the head sculpt was pretty good. It just didn't really look like Robert Pattinson. Something was way off. It didn't look like this. But the eyes, the chin, the facial features, the hair was great, but you can't sell a figure per se in terms of likeness with just the hair. The face has to look like the person too. And it was a good head, but it just didn't look like Robert Pattinson. So I did an episode on what to do if you have a head that you're not in love with, and you basically want to change the head sculpt and put a mustache and facial hair on the chin. And this is apparently a Van Dyke variation style of mustache and beard. And he looks great now. And I was going to use him as my third musketeer, because after all the years of searching, I finally found a third musketeer. Not with all the pieces, but the most important piece is the clothing. I put the clothing on a figure, and then I put this head on the figure, and then I tried to put the hat on this head, and it would not fit. And I was disheartened, but I also had some other heads I wanted to change the look of, and one of them was Jude Law. And so I put the same type of mustache and chin hair, beard on him. I put more hair on him because he had a receding hairline. But despite that, he fit that hat very well. So I had my third musketeer. So that's the beauty of some heads. You can change the look of some heads with the right material. And for me, it was Magic Sculpt. But the head that came with the French Guardsman was awful. And I showed you guys the head. And I showed you a close-up of the head. And I basically said, there is nothing I can do to make this head look good. And I really, really meant it. But the neat thing about being on YouTube is the community that forms. Ecto Eric said, maybe I can do something with it. And I looked at it again and I said, there's nothing I can do with this head to make it look better. And I thought harder about it. And I said, maybe I can make him into a zombie. I've never done that before. Didn't even know how to make a zombie, but I thought maybe I could do it and maybe he would look better that way. So thank you, Eric, for pushing me. My friend from Norway, Svein, he pushed me in terms of custom stands. We've been talking about it for some time, and he made a stand that fit 8 figures. And I looked at that and I went like, wow. And I thought, well, maybe I could do 2, and the whole point of doing it was to make it more space friendly. And so those types of pushes kind of make us do something that we actually feel proud of. So I had at least one more head, and I did make a zombie of it. We'll pause now to get both heads back out side by side so you can see what we started with and what we ended with, and I'll tell you how I did everything. So we'll be right back. Here's what I started out with. Here's what I ended up with. They're the same head, but I have to say he looks better as a zombie. So here is the head of the French Guardsman with a new lease on life, which is lifeless, a zombie. We're just going to go around so you can see him from different angles. So the first thing you probably notice is he got a drastic haircut. And of course, there are lots of wounds on this guy. Let me kind of move him back a bit so you can see him more face forward. Yeah. Okay. So we'll pause now and then I'll talk about how I made this guy. So I basically cut off as much hair as I could get to with a pair of scissors. I cut it down to as tight to the head as I possibly could get. Then I painted the hair black and the mustache black. Then I painted the face white. And then, as I've done in previous episodes, I used a black liquidy wash to put over the white face. And then I just dabbed off with a wet paper towel as much paint as I wanted to dab off. When I finally got the consistency that I wanted in terms of paleness, whiteness, grayness, whatever you want to call it, then I decided to do something to the skin. What I ended up doing was using pliers and a nail. So I got the point of the nail extended out from the pliers, so I wouldn't be able to touch the nail, and used a heat source to warm the nail up. And once it was warm enough, I just pressed it against the skin in certain places and on the top of the head to create, what looked like wounds. So cut the hair as tight as you can get it, paint it black, paint the face white. I should say paint the mustache black too. Paint the face white, then do a black wash, and then dab off as much as you want to take off so that it is as pale or gray or as dark as you want it to be. Then take a nail, get it hot. Don't touch the nail that's hot. Use pliers and just start putting it against pieces of the head that you really want to make gouges in. Once that's done, then you paint the gouge black, let it dry, or use a hair dryer to dry it, which is my impatient way of doing it. And then going back and painting red on the inside of the black, drying it, and then going back and doing a light black wash over the wound and dabbing off what you don't want. And you'll end up with something like this. It's just a matter of contouring the face the way you want it to be. The gouges have to be in the places you want them to be. Let's go ahead and get another close-up again. And we'll pause and get set up for that so you can actually see each wound as fully as possible. So I forgot I used vice grips instead of a plier. I used a screw instead of a nail so I could actually get more traction in terms of making gouges in this head. And the heat source was a propane torch. So here's the gouge in the top of his head. And obviously black paint first, dry it, red paint, dry it, black wash, dab it away as much as you need to, and boom, dry it. Here's a gouge on the side of his head, on the right side. Same process, just a smaller gouge. I'm going to turn them a little here so you can see the gouge up here. I really went to town with the chin. And I even went more to town with the side of the neck. And what you might not be able to pick up on this close-up is that there is some plastic that it's kind of hanging. I didn't cut it off. I just kept it on, like skin would be hanging from a face. We'll pause right now and try to refocus just to make sure you get a really clear shot of this face. So here he is. Yeah, I think you can see more details now. I really do think he looks better as a zombie than he did as a musketeer. The next time you see him, he'll be on a body and we'll have another zombie, I guess. I hope you liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.